Tonight, pushing back on the peace plan for Ukraine.
Ukraine must be making decisions for its own future in terms of its own territorial integrity.
What has Canada and the international community calling into question the U.S. plan for Ukraine's future? Plus, Canada Post reaches a deal in principle with thousands of its workers, but is it too little, too late for customers?
Trust has dropped in consumers and businesses for Canada Post.
And the Professional Women's Hockey League back in action as fans get geared up for another season of excitement.
We're just so excited for the girls and for them to come out and cheer on their role models, and it's out of this world.
How the PWHL is looking to build and grow in Season 3.
CTV National News with Heather Butts. Reporting tonight, Heather Wright.
Good evening. Canada joined the European Union and Japan today in pushing for changes to a U.S. peace plan, widely panned as favoring Moscow. The 28-point plan, which U.S. President Donald Trump has given Ukraine less than a week to accept, includes handing over territory to Russia, reducing the size of its military, and blocks any path to NATO membership. CTV's Colton Prale starts us off.
Fleeing the front lines, this Ukrainian girl and her grandmother hope to escape Zaporizhia and the missiles and drones that fly overhead, wreaking death and destruction in cities across Ukraine. But as the White House pushes for a peace deal that would reportedly see Ukraine give up massive swaths of territory and limit the size of its military, Canada and European allies are pushing for changes to Donald Trump's peace plan.
Ukraine must be making decisions for its own future in terms of its own territorial integrity.
In a joint statement, Mark Carney and other world leaders welcomed Trump's plan as a basis, but one that will require additional work and the consultation of NATO and the European Union.
I don't see the administration on its own jumping in and making corrections. I think they're going to need that to come from Europe and Canada via Zelensky.
Today, Trump told reporters the plan isn't final, even as he's set a Thursday deadline for Ukraine to agree to the terms.
We're trying to get it ended. One way or the other, we have to get it ended.
Trump's 28-point peace plan has largely been panned as too friendly to Russian interests. But experts say even an amended deal may come with a loss of territory for Ukraine.
It's likely going to be like East and West Germany after World War II, where there will be some sort of occupation of Ukraine, but Western countries will not accept that occupied territory as part of Russia.
Asked what would happen if Ukraine rejects his peace plan, Trump said Zelensky can, quote, continue to fight his little heart out. Heather.
All right, Colton Prale in Ottawa. Thanks for this, Colton. The war in Ukraine among the many topics discussed today as the G20 summit kicked off in South Africa, a meeting overshadowed by a U.S. boycott. But as CTV's Rachel Aiello reports, the Prime Minister is using the G20 as an opportunity to push Canada's investment agenda.
Canada. Mark Carney made his G20 debut today, attending his first leader summit as Prime Minister. Taking place for the first time on the African continent, world leaders gathered to discuss inclusive growth, debt transparency, and disaster mitigation.
We view addressing climate change as a moral duty, but also a commercial imperative.
South Africa's president opened the summit, emphasizing the need to find common solutions.
This is important in an interconnected world where the challenge faced by one nation affects all other nations.
And ended the day securing a joint leaders' declaration. The host country pushing ahead, despite the largest number of leader no-shows of any G20. Among them, U.S. President Donald Trump.
South Africa shouldn't even be in the Gs anymore.
With the Americans absent, Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand said she's using this opportunity to advance Canada's interests with other leaders.
There are the formal and informal conversations and decisions that are taken amongst leaders. And so it this is a good day for multilateralism generally.
No, it's great to have the moments face to face.
Carney also held several one-on-ones today and secured a new trilateral partnership on innovation and technology with Australia and India. Though while the Prime Minister is drumming up more deals and investments for Canada, Canada has just cut how much it's investing in international aid at a time when Africa is asking for more.
We sometimes wonder if people are as concerned or as invested in Africa's development and what it poses, not just for African people, but for the world.
Anand says Canada remains a major foreign aid contributor and that the government is committed to strengthening ties with Africa, though Canada's official Africa strategy has no funding behind it. Heather?
CTV's Rachel Aiello in Johannesburg. Thanks, Rachel. A healthcare strike narrowly averted in Alberta today, where nursing care workers struck a tentative deal with the province just as they were set to hit the picket line.
This deal may not include 100% of what we asked for, but it sets a new standard in healthcare and more broadly in the labor movement.
Union negotiators say a 12% wage increase over 4 years was agreed to with retroactive pay dated back to April 2024. Members still need to vote on the new deal. Well, after a contentious and bitter 2-year labor dispute, Canada Post and the union representing thousands of postal workers appear to be inching toward a new deal. The two sides have an agreement in principle, and while details still need to be finalized, it is a relief for businesses, but might be too little too late. Here's CTV's Kamal Karamali.
Hello.
The holiday rush has arrived at this Toronto store. Owner Christina Kodiatis firing out packages, some through Canada Post, but most through another service.
So how are you planning on shipping out all these items during the holidays?
We use our private courier mostly. Obviously, trust has dropped in consumers, in businesses for Canada Post.
That trust dropped after 2 years of a bitter battle between the Crown Corporation and its employees over a new collective agreement, a battle that led to countrywide strikes, including last holiday season. Friday, both sides announced a tentative deal, one that the union still needs to vote on after the language in the agreement is ironed out.
What they've done is they've said, conceptually, we've agreed on the big picture issues right now, but now we're going to put pen to paper.
If the two sides can't come to an agreement on the language of the deal, then a strike could still happen heading into the busy holiday season. That's why some Canadians aren't ready to fully put faith back into Canada Post.
I don't really use it for packages too much.
With businesses not willing to take a gamble either on their most profitable time of the year.
Businesses have learned the hard way that Canada Post is increasingly an unreliable provider of delivery services, and so many have made decisions to permanently move away.
Canada Post is in dire straits, reporting the largest quarterly loss in its history this week of well over $500 million. The federal government already announcing sweeping changes, including an end to door-to-door deliveries.
There you go.
Back at the shop, a belief that Canada Post can regain Canadians' trust.
We should absolutely support them to try and revive this company.
Especially if it delivers a deal this holiday season. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
Another Canadian linked to the Ryan wedding investigation has been arrested. The FBI says Rashid Pasqua Hossain of Vancouver was arrested Friday, accused of money laundering as part of the former Olympic snowboarder's alleged drug smuggling ring. The arrest comes days after 7 other Canadians were charged and will be extradited to the United States in connection to the criminal enterprise. Wedding, who's on FBI's most wanted list, is believed to be on the run in Mexico. The hunt continues tonight in British Columbia for the bear that attacked a group of children and their teacher. CTV's Craig Krause has the latest from Bella Coola.
A community still in shock.
My heart and my healing strength go out to them.
Towards the group of elementary school students and their teacher who were attacked by a grizzly bear while out on a field trip Thursday afternoon.
I am worried about my granddaughter.
The grandmother of one of the children critically injured speaking to CTV News as the 9-year-old undergoes surgery in Vancouver.
She has a fractured shoulder, fractured elbow, and a fractured ankle. Ankle and arm will have to have pins put in them.
A road to recovery ahead, but the physical and emotional scars will remain.
We don't want anybody to go through this alone.
The Newelk Nation swiftly implementing counseling and other services alongside Vancouver Coastal Health, First Nations Health Authority, and the Indian Residential School Survivors Society.
It was just such a traumatic event that involved so many people and a lot of other agencies that had to come in to support.
As for the bear, it remains at large. BC Conservation says traps have been set up and cameras are being installed, but no decision has been made on whether to euthanize the bear if it is caught. A concern for some, as anxiety is high.
This was like a lightning strike, and it is not a time to lock and load and start shooting at the sky.
BC Conservation says the goal is to get the bear to act naturally, and that's more likely to happen if people stay out of the area. Craig Crowe, CTV News, Bella Coola.
All right, you can probably hear we have some fire alarms going on in the background, but we are going to continue with the news. And McGill University is making massive cuts to its athletic programs, announcing 25 varsity sports programs won't be returning for the 2026-2027 school year. Among them, men's and women's track and field, which has been running for 125 years. Now, the move has left students both confused and upset.
Track and field was an enormous part of my decision as to where I went to university. To hear that my career could be over in 3 months if I don't leave Montreal or leave McGill, it's just hard to wrap my head around.
The Quebec government has made sweeping changes to post-secondary schools, including tuition increases for out-of-province students and French language requirements. Caps on international students have also impacted budgets. McGill says financial constraints and a lack of facility spaces are why the programs are being cut. Women's professional hockey is back this week with the PWHL's third season now underway, bringing excitement, probably some noise like this, momentum, and new teams to a sport that's only getting bigger. CTV's Jeremy Charon reports.
Flooding rinks across North America, fans of the PWHL are ready to roll into a third season.
It's very cool. It's like something to look forward to, like when we're older.
It's just excited to see the future for the generations to come. There's something for them to look, those little girls to look forward to.
In Ottawa, Charged fans looking to carry through the momentum from an inspiring run to the PWHL final last season that ended in a devastating loss.
This city breathes hockey, right? Like, this is a hockey city, and to have a PWHL team here and to have them do as well as they did last year is amazing.
But there will be new competition in the league this year.
In overtime, Inisheva delays, a pass, it's Bourne, she scores!
The Vancouver Golden Eyes winning big Friday night against the Seattle Torrent, the battle of the West Coast expansion teams kicking off their inaugural seasons and adding to the league's already growing fan base.
My favorite player is Hannah.
We're just so excited for the girls and for them to come out and cheer on their role models, and it's out of this world.
The PWHL will be looking to build on the momentum it has gained already. Attendance, viewership, and league growth stats have all steadily climbed through its first 2 seasons.
The PWHL looks like it's here to stay, unlike previous incarnations of the women's hockey leagues. And with expansion that's going on, there is going to be this attempt to try and build it into something that is comparable to the NHL.
Now, to work towards that, the league has more games this year, and they'll play more than a dozen of them in cities where there are no teams yet. They've also increased broadcast accessibility across North America this season. Jeremy Charon, CTV News, Ottawa.
Coming up, a cherished music festival's uncertain future.
I think it's an important part of the community landscape. It's an important part of the cultural landscape.
Why the Newfoundland Folk Fest may have struck its final note. A somber anniversary this weekend as the Ukrainian diaspora marks a dark period in its history. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky attended a ceremony in Kyiv today honoring the victims of the Holodomor, a man-made famine that killed millions of people. 92 years later, the tragedy continues to impact the Ukrainian community around the world, including here in Canada. CTV's Alex Karpa has that story.
Yes, my mother got this in 1933.
This coverlet serves as a reminder to Sonia Lebedin about the horrors both her parents endured.
It's very emotional.
Her mother Anna was given this decorative bed covering in the early 30s in the height of the Holodomor, a man-made famine and genocide that occurred in Ukraine between 1932 and 33, resulting in the deaths of millions. Her parents were both survivors and have since passed, leaving this artifact one of her last physical connections to a painful past.
We have to keep it alive. We have to remember what happened, because if we forget what happened, history will repeat itself.
The apples and the bread represent the food that was taken away.
Valentina Noseworthy's parents are also survivors and have both since died.
My mom's wish before she died was that such a terrible thing as the Holodomor wouldn't ever happen to anyone else.
The Ukrainian genocide was an attempt by Joseph Stalin's regime to destroy the Ukrainian nation, but some say over 90 years later, the atrocities of the past are being repeated in Ukraine today.
Every day that Ukraine is attacked, Ukrainian Canadians, think about that, but also in the context of the history that we've come from.
92 years after the Holodomor, very few survivors still remain. That's why Lebanon treasures this coverlet. It's a way for her to keep that history alive. And every November, she lights a candle to honor the victims of the Holodomor, people who she says should never be forgotten. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Still ahead, tossing and turning over widespread dependency. The age group most affected by sleeping pills and alternatives to help with a good night's rest. Insomnia rates increase with age, and so too does the use of sleeping pills. Seniors in Atlantic Canada are turning to sleeping pills more than in any other part of the country. And as CTV's Sarah Plowman reports, that has one researcher speaking out about alternatives.
In the morning, George Marcoux feels lighter, has more energy. Welcome after decades of struggling to sleep.
I was taking those sleeping pills as I take a candy, that's all. So I did it for 35 years.
He didn't question it when a doctor prescribed him the sleeping pill, but after a near car accident, he wondered about the side effects.
I was waking up in the morning and I was looking dizzy or...
Marcoux joined a study to wean himself off the drug. He journaled, did cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, CBTI. It worked.
In a scale of 0 to 10, how I feel, it's 10.
This Dalhousie researcher is hosting public talks to share new data, along with alternatives to the pills.
We should be rethinking our overuse of sleeping pills, and we should start to look more into how can we quickly, easily access CBTI and use it as our baseline default treatment of insomnia.
New Brunswick has the highest rate of sleeping pill use among seniors in Canada at 22%. The national average is 8%.
There's some parts of New Brunswick where the rates are 3 to 4 times as high as other parts of New Brunswick.
It's unclear why. Professor David Gardner has a theory.
If you start to see other people using sleeping pills and you're having a few rough nights of sleep, you'll go ask about sleeping pills. Or if your colleagues are prescribing sleeping pills commonly, you'll be thinking about that.
When their studies sent seniors booklets laying out alternatives, researchers say a quarter of patients stopped their medications and improved their sleep. Marcoux was one.
I'm not asking people to stop. I'm asking people to talk to their doctor and their pharmacist about that.
Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Fredericton.
The future of a beloved music festival in Newfoundland and Labrador is uncertain after organizers shut their doors and laid off staff. Here's CTV's Garrett Berry on the internal fighting and the fight to keep the festival going.
Former Great Big Sea singer Bob Hallett has lost track of just how many times he's played the Newfoundland and Labrador Folk Festival. For him, like so many others, it's a key part of summer in St. John's.
I took the bus down from Kilbride down here by myself as a 12-year-old to watch it. I was that engaged in this.
Even now, after the organization that runs the festival has shut its doors, it's hard to believe the event won't be back.
I think people want to see a festival that focuses on Newfoundland traditional and folk music in this park in the summer.
The Newfoundland and Labrador Folk Arts Society has been warning of financial difficulties For well more than a year now, a big push in 2024 to bring big performers sent spending to new heights. Revenue didn't keep up.
They talk about the festival not being sustainable because they don't get enough people in the park. But it's a society that needs to be sustained, not just the festival.
Former board member and volunteer Anthony McDonald has been a vocal critic of the festival's direction. Festival staff said in the past that criticism crossed a line. He's been banned from the organization. McDonald disputes that he did anything wrong. Despite all that, he's still asking his friends to support the group and make donations. He believes there's a path forward for the festival, one that could bring critics like him back into the fold.
It needs to rely on the community. It needs to find and heal that community. I'm very vocal about them, but I'm not the only one that feels that way. I just happen to be very direct.
We asked to speak to the board members that are left at the Newfoundland and Labrador Folk Arts Society about what exactly happens now, but no one was available to answer our questions today. Heather.
All right, CTV's Garrett Berry, thanks for this. Still ahead, how to swipe a little extra value this holiday season. The Shop Local promotion businesses hope will pay off. With holiday shopping ramping up, downtown districts across Canada are trying to keep spending close to home. CTV's Maria Saru shows us what some businesses are doing to get people into their stores.
On Charlottetown's main streets, the search for the right gifts for loved ones has started.
Family, friends, neighbors.
And as costs climb, shoppers say they're being more intentional about where their dollars go.
Definitely supporting your local artists and your local community. It's so important for our economy.
Making sure that we support our friends, family, community, our country, our pride.
This week, Islanders and businesses got an extra boost. Local gift cards offered by Downtown Charlottetown Incorporated were 20% off, a one-day deal to promote spending at shops in the community.
If it benefits the business, it benefits the community. It means that there's more attendance at events. It means that there's more tax base for social programs.
140 plus stores and restaurants are participating, and Charlottetown is one of more than 40 cities across Canada that have joined the Downtown Gift Card program. The aim is to drive some sales away from massive online retailers into small independent businesses. Owners say every customer coming through the door counts.
With the trade negotiations, with tariffs, we've seen a real surge of people finding it important to support local, shop local.
For stores on this street and beyond, a holiday shopper today could be a return customer tomorrow, and that can make a real difference. Maria Saru, CTV News, Charlottetown.
And that is our show for this Saturday. For all of us here at CTV National News, good night, and we will see you again tomorrow.